Top stories tonight. Nigeria records 63 deaths over 2,000 cholera cases. House of Representatives alleges Banu suicide bombers were mercenaries. Court adjourns hearing on Kano Emirates tussle to July 4. And Algeria's political parties urge President Banu to run for a second term. Thank you for joining us. I'm Felicity Ezewuike. Let's begin by telling you that the Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Jide Idris, has said a total of 2,102 suspected cholera cases and 63 deaths have been recorded across 33 states and 122 local government areas since the beginning of the year as of June 30, 2024. Idris said this on Tuesday at a press briefing in Abuja, where he noted that the case fatality rate is at 3.0%. He said 7 of the top 10 states, Lagos, Bayelsa, Abia, Zamfara, Bauchi, Katsina, Cross River, Ebonyi, Rivers and Delta, that contribute about 90% of the cases are southern states. In the meantime, Kogi seems to be among the 6 states in Nigeria that have mild cases of cholera, recording only 2 confirmed cases. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Abdulaziz Adam, who disclosed this in Lokoja, said cases were confirmed with 1 victim treated and discharged. Adam said that he was aware that 31 states, including the FCT Abuja, had epidemic level of cholera, which is of public health importance, meaning the remaining 6 states may have, but not to epidemic level. On measures taken by the state governments to address the situation in the state, he said drastic measures have been taken to ensure that the disease is brought under control. To get better perspective on this case in Kogi State, we're now joined by the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Abdulaziz Adams. Dr. Adams, thanks for joining us. So far, Kogi has not recorded many cases. Could you expatiate a little on the measures that you are taking to ensure that the figure does not rise?
Good evening and good evening, Nigeria. Thank you for having me here today. Cholera is an acute bacterial infection that can affect any age group. Currently, in Nigeria, we have an outbreak of cholera. And recently, because of the confirmed cases we have in Kogi State, we can say Kogi isn't left out in the outbreak. For now, the state has embarked on several activities being supported by the COPREP, which is a COVID-19 preparedness program that we carried out in the state over the last 5 to 6 months. It's actually involved preparing a state on how to respond to infectious disease outbreak. This was born out of the COVID-19 that ravaged the entire world. So this has made Kogi State, amongst other states, to train people on how to respond to infectious diseases. A couple of months ago, Kogi was among the states that was also ravaged by Lassa fever virus. And because of this training that we've had in Kogi State, it has prepared us against further outbreaks. This involved training lots of health workers, some lab focal persons, disease notification surveillance officers, even community health workers, community mobilizers were all engaged and trained them on how to search for disease outbreak, on how to report this disease outbreak. As I speak to you, even before the outbreak of cholera, all these health workers and a host of others have all been trained on alert for any possible outbreak of any infectious disease. Until recently, we had cholera. The cholera outbreak, of course, affected Kogi State, and the confirmed cases we have involve 2 local governments. One is the state capital, and the other local government is not the state capital. These officers have been trained across all the 21 local governments, and across all the 239 political wards in the state, kept them on alert. That is why the other case that was recorded was far away from the state capital. These, our active officers, quickly recognized that case and then notified the state government, and the case was managed in the local government where we found the case.
Okay, I was going to actually ask you about the job of these disease surveillance and notification officers, but you've explained that a bit. We've also talked about the fact that the government has trained people on how to identify cases that you termed in previous reports as epidemic because of your experience with Lassa fever. Could you briefly, again, explain what to look out for as signs, especially for people in rural communities?
All right. As part of effort in sensitizing the community, we're engaging everyone, including the Ministry of Information, in sensitizing everyone on what to look out for to suspect a case to be cholera disease. Cholera largely is a case that has the common symptoms of vomiting and passage of loose stool. Even though the loose stool associated with cholera has a characteristic feature of what we call rice water stool. However, because of the current outbreak we're facing, anybody with complaints of passage of loose stool is expected to present him or herself to the nearest hospital facility for there to be thorough assessment and test to confirm whether it is cholera or not. This we're doing is sensitizing everybody down to the communities, urban and rural places, on the need to have good hospital-seeking behavior. Because, again, we advise people to generally have good health-seeking behavior by going to hospital whenever you have any complaint of ill health, rather than sit at home and start making calls or sit at home and be using measures that are not medically proven to be helpful.
Talk to us about open defecation and drinking of bad water, especially for rural communities whose source of water, for instance, is the stream. Even in today's society, we know that there are communities like that still in Nigeria. Do you have such communities, and what are you doing to get to them? Because one thing is to say we're talking on radio, we're getting these officials, but is that information getting to those at the very low radar of society?
Yes, like I mentioned earlier, amongst measures that are being advised to use to prevent cholera is to drink potable water, even when it is not available. Get the water, boil, and allow it to cool and drink. Wash hands regularly, cook food with clean water, keep our food clean, and then maintain good hygiene.
Yeah, yes, you've said this. I'm just asking.
Yes. And getting to the rural communities, I made mention of those that were trained. I made mention of community mobilizers, community engagers, rural community leaders. These people have been trained. And as I speak to you, even the traditional town mobilizers, town announcers, the one we usually call town criers, they are actually referred to as town announcers. These people have been engaged currently in Kogi State. They have been trained and they are going around rural communities where they do not have access to this radio or even flyers. These town announcers have been engaged in rural communities, in marketplaces, and even where they have their community meetings, or even in traditional houses, or even religious homes where people come to mosques or churches. They are being encouraged you are being trained to educate people on these measures to carry out and in preventing the cholera. So we are reaching out to the rural places across all the 239 wards and even villages in Kogi State.
We certainly hope that your efforts will pay off and the figures will remain low in Kogi State. Just to reminisce and say, it's been a long time I heard about town criers. I miss hearing them make announcements. Thank you very much for reminding us and for speaking with us.
Thank you too.
I mean, if you grew up in rural communities, you would enjoy these men giving information from the king. All right, to more health-related stories. In a bid to improve healthcare delivery services, the Nigerian government is collaborating with UNICEF and other development partners to launch a sector-wide approach. This centralized funding system has earmarked $4 billion to bolster healthcare services in the country. UNICEF Health Manager Dr. Clement Adams highlighted this initiative during a strategic engagement with stakeholders from northeast states. News Center's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
The health indices in Nigeria, from maternal and child death to average lifespan of an individual, still remains a major source of concern. This negative indices is worsened by the poverty level and insecurity in some parts of the country. Experts in the health sector and both the federal and state government representatives are here to discuss the launch of a unified initiative to enhance access to quality healthcare in the country.
The federal government decided to bring the wide sector approach, and then this is a roadshow that we came for introduction to all the Northeast, all our commissioners and the executive secretaries, all the other important dignitaries are here to discuss the matter, to see how we can join hands together and produce what we call annual operation plan.
What we're seeking to do is to ensure that we are all speaking together as each other, with the states, the Federal Ministry of Health, and all partners. If you see the sector-wide approach has already had a pledge of $4 billion that will be coming as additional money in helping to ensure that health services are improved. The President of the Republic of Nigeria has already promised that through that we'll be increasing the number of primary healthcare facilities to 17,000.
An approach which is a game changer in Nigeria, because Nigeria has got indices that are, globally rated as the poor or the worst in the world.
The stakeholders have charted the course to commit to agreed policy, expenditure and institutional frameworks, as well as strong accountability mechanisms.
13 areas where the problems seem to be central, and then we're going to work in together to address those needs.
Professor Babagana Omar Zulum's government has created a drugs and medical consumables agency. This agency is now functional.
So UNICEF is taking the lead to support them so that they can roll this thing out and coordinate all partners in all states so that we all can be on the same page and ensure that we're all implementing this at the right way so that we can achieve the results that we all deserve.
Encompassing 18 objectives with 4 pillars, the sector-wide approach seeks to provide a robust and easy access to healthcare delivery services in each of the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Some health practitioners in Nigeria have called for the adoption of technology in improving access to affordable health care for citizens in need. The call was made in the nation's capital, Abuja, as they unveiled popular Nollywood actress Reginald Daniel as an ambassador to help sensitize citizens on its benefits. My colleague Idong Joseph completes the report.
The shortage of medical professionals and even lack of access to hospitals for many Nigerians pose a challenge to Nigeria's access to healthcare objectives. The need to leverage the use of modern technology to seek healthcare has become more necessary. Conversation has emerged on the use of technology to bridge this gap with what is known as telehealth.
With Isha 24, you can, from the comfort of your home, speak to medical practitioners, and to get yourself sorted. It's quite affordable, it's quite accessible, and location is not a barrier.
My experience during COVID, we actually consult remotely because I'm a prescriber as well. We actually consult remotely, and I felt more or less, if we could do this easily in England during the COVID period, why can't we take it to our people? Why can't our people use the same system? They use their phone everywhere. I remember when OPE came, people said, how can you use your phone number? But that was born out of COVID. This was born out of COVID, and we want people to know about it.
Experts say this entails connecting healthcare providers with those in need so that they can get service from the comfort and safety of their homes. While this aligns with Goal 3 of the Sustainable Development Goals, which emphasizes the need to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all, promoters of this initiative are not leaving anything to chance and have unveiled prominent Nigerian actress Reginald Daniels as the face to help raise awareness about its benefits.
This initiative is a very, very unique one. It is an initiative, I believe, almost everyone in Nigeria needs. We all need a 24/7 services with our doctors at all times. And I am very proud to be here and very proud to be an ambassador of Baba Telehealth.
The COVID-19 pandemic of 2020 tested the healthcare system globally. Many now believe that technology can play a crucial role in making healthcare more accessible to citizens. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
Coming up, House of Representatives alleges Banu suicide bombers were mercenaries. We'll tell you more after the break.
Scenes of solidarity and
If you've just joined us, you're watching Tonight. A reminder of our top stories. Nigeria records 63 deaths, over 2,000 cholera cases. House of Representatives alleges Banu suicide bombers were mercenaries. Porter John's hearing on Kano Emirate tussle to July 4. And Algeria's political parties urge President Banu to run for second term. Let's bring you an update on the suicide bombing in Goza, Banu State. The House of Representatives on Tuesday alleged that the female suicide bombers responsible for the killing of scores in Banu State on Saturday were imported. The lawmakers said this in a resolution after considering a motion of urgent national importance by Ahmed Jaha. While condemning the attack, Jaha stated that findings showed that bombers were recruited, brainwashed, and imported from outside the state to carry out the suicide act in Goza. The attack had claimed over 30 lives. He further argued that the bombings underscored the ongoing threat of terrorism in the country. The lawmaker informed the House that more than 180 people were critically injured and currently receiving treatment in various hospitals in the state. To discuss this, I'm joined by former Director, State Security Services, Dennis Amakre. Dennis, thank you very much for joining us on Tonight.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Does it really matter whether the suicide bomber was imported or not in the context that they can only come in because someone wanted them to do the deed?
I don't agree with that allegation. I don't know the facts the member of Rep has to allege that they were imported. I don't think they were also interrogated. So I don't know where that allegation is coming from. But we have to know
the information that, if I remember correctly, is coming from the defense headquarters, is saying that that's part of the question I'll be asking you subsequently, saying that these people are imported. I guess he may be just repeating what he has heard before.
Well, one thing we have to understand is that Goza is a border town in Nigeria, in Borno State. And then, of course, the Mandara Hills extends from Nigeria to Cameroon. So the terrorists, actually, it is, those people have been identified properly to be the faction of Abubakar Shekau's faction of Boko Haram. And they have been traversing the border between Cameroon and Nigeria. Sometimes they come down there, they attack, and as they finish the attack, they've gone back into Cameroon. So I don't know if they say that they are imported. Well, we can say 50% yes, they came from Cameroon.
The heart of my questions you haven't really touched, except I missed it. I'm asking, does it really matter if these people are imported in the context that they can only be able to do the act of suicide bombing if they were brought in by people who wanted them to commit that act in that very location?
No, it does not matter whether they are coming from overseas or not, or from outside the country or not. We've had suicide bombers, before, and there are people that have been radicalized and brainwashed to go out and carry out the job. And these particular ladies, who went and carried out these, are people that must have been brainwashed by Boko Haram and most likely illiterates who have been told to go and carry out these acts. And then, of course, the reward will be their reward in heaven.
Okay. Let me go to the question I wanted to ask you about, something that the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, said. He said, given that we're in a state of war, we must recognize that the despicable act is a response to recent successes in ongoing military operations. That's a paraphrase of what he said. But to a layman, shouldn't success have a different outcome, like no bombing, suicide bombings, for instance?
I totally agree with the General Buba, because what we have to understand is that Goza is a very strategic town for Boko Haram, very strategic. That was the first place that they captured, and where Abubakar Shekau himself declared a caliphate. So it's like their headquarters. It's their headquarters. And now that the Nigerian army has decimated them and drove them out of the town, they keep on coming back. There's a lot of attacks that have been going on in Goza. But the military has been consistent in driving them out of that place. Even an emir was killed, in Goza. So the strategic nature of Goza is very, very important to them. Before, they used to come in with troops. Their own people on motorbikes, they will come and raid the town and kill people and go away. But now they are not able to do that again because of the heavy-handedness that the Nigerian military has given to them. So I agree with the general, because right now they cannot do the fighting anymore. And what they are doing now is the cowardly act of arming illiterate suicide bombers to go in and then, of course, bomb the place. It's a method they are using, and of course, it's one that shows cowardice.
Okay. Beyond the acknowledgement that the suicide bombers were imported, what further action do you expect from Nigeria's House of Representatives in response to the reemergence of suicide bombing? And what should the military be doing with the information that these people are imported?
One thing is that we have to tighten our belts, look at the situation very well. And that's why we were talking about one of the major reasons for cooperating with your neighbors, especially internationally, is because of things like this. So you find out that when Niger Republic had a military coup, and some people were even misadvising our president that they should go and raid Niger Republic, I don't think that was a good advice. And at that time, we mentioned it, that was not a very good move. And thank God we did not go and do that, because your neighbors are very, very important. Now, we have Boko Haram launching attacks from Cameroon, coming across the Mandara Mountains, coming into Goza and mounting attacks and then going back, running back again. I think if we can have a better relationship with Cameroon, and then, of course, the joint task force that we've been operating should more, be more serious and active around that area, they should be able to curb it. Because international crimes, terrorism is an international crime, and it should be dealt like in that way.
Dennis, thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me.
Still talking security matters, the security situation in Nigeria's north continues to deteriorate with a surge in violent attacks and kidnappings, leaving thousands of people displaced and killed. While the Nigerian government has promised to adopt a new action plan, there are still growing concerns about the security situation. News Central's Ni Omoni completes the story.
Northern Nigeria has been plagued by a worsening security situation in recent years. Attacks across Katsina, Sokoto and Zamfara State by terrorists locally known as bandits have spanned between 5 to 10 years, with the latest wave of kidnap and attacks in Nasarawa, Kaduna and Borno State. Between 2011 and 2023, over 8,000 people were killed, with over 2.5 million displaced, according to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. The insecurity has also severely impacted economic activity and development in the region. Despite these figures, the Nigerian government says it has disrupted and dismantled criminal networks in the country's northwest.
Our meetings over the past few months have shown our readiness for a paradigm shift in achieving peace in northern Nigeria. Each of you here is aware of the high-profile figureheads of these groups neutralized by our forces. And I am here to share with you that this is just the beginning.
Security experts argue that the situation will remain dangerous unless decisive action is taken.
We have the criminality that we need to confront using force, using military might, or whatever, kind of ability that we can, deploy, to overcome that, to upturn that challenge. And then on the other side, also, we have some kind of underlying social, cultural, and economic factors that are fueling this crisis, and we need to also address them separately. So it is a kind of combined approach. So you cannot just deal with the symptoms, you have to deal with the entire disease.
The resolution from a recently held Northwest Peace and Security Summit is that a new action plan must be adopted and developed to end insecurity and poverty.
Left unsolved and unmanaged, violent conflict will continue to undermine the enormous potential that this country has to satisfy the needs of over 200 million people, including those who live in the Northwest.
But without giving an answer to this question, we cannot go anywhere. We will come back to another conference again. We're still talking about the same issue, the same problem.
As the situation continues to deteriorate, there are growing concerns over the long-term impact on the region and the country as a whole. The Nigerian government has been urged to take immediate action to address the root causes of the insecurity and provide adequate support to those affected. In Lagos for News Central, Ni Omoni.
Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, has reiterated his dedication and commitment to continuously transform and improve the Nigerian Army for improved security of both lives and property, as well as defend existential threat. The Army boss was speaking in Jos, the Plateau State capital, north-central Nigeria, during his courtesy call under Governor Caleb Mutfwang, as activities commence for the Nigerian Army Day celebration to be hosted by the 3-Division Maxwell Kobe Cantonment, Jos. News Center's Chizoba Anyowe tells us more.
The Nigerian Army, since inception, will turn 161 years come Saturday, July 6, 2024. It is on this premise that Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, is on the plateau to commence activities heralding the event. Upon his arrival, he paid a courtesy visit on Governor Caleb Mutfwang, where he thanked him for his support to the Army formation in the state under the leadership of the General Officer Commanding 3 Armored Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Abdulsalam Abubakar. He reassured more security on the plateau with the deployment of both kinetic and non-kinetic approaches.
Your Excellency, I believe that the platform of the NYSC 2024, which has afforded us the opportunity to bring a large number of Nigerian Army personnel and our equipment to Plateau, we go a long way to cement the friendship, the understanding, and the cordial relationship that exists between the Nigerian Army, the government, and the good people of Plateau State.
The governor is optimistic that the relationship established between the state and the military will yield greater results.
On behalf of the people of Plateau State, I'd like to say a big thank you for the role the Army and other sister agencies have played in ensuring that the security situation on the plateau today is better than where we met it in 2023. I want to celebrate your leadership, that of the GOC, who also carried on from where his predecessors left. And we've seen the deployment of professionalism in carrying out the mandate of the Army.
Lieutenant General Labaja was also at the palace of the chairman of the Plateau State Council of Chiefs and Emirs.
General, that we sincerely appreciate your men here on the plateau that have fought to ensure that we are enjoying the relative peace we are enjoying now. It is not yet over, but by the grace of God, we know that you will accomplish what you have started.
According to the Army boss, coming days will witness more activities of the Nigerian Army as they mark the annual event on the plateau. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyonwe.
Away from that, Kano Court has adjourned the hearing of the Emirate tussles between Aminu Bayero and Lamido Sanusi to July 4 to entertain all applications and originating motions. The ongoing Kano Emirate tussle court case, as of May 27th, has the Attorney General, Speaker of the Kano State House of Assembly, and the Kano State House of Assembly asking the court to grant an order of interim injunction restraining the 15th Emir, Bayero, and 4 other dethroned emirs from parading themselves as emirs, has been adjourned at the Kano State High Court. During its sitting on the hearing of all pending applications, counsel to the applicants informed the court that he was served with the 5 processes on July 1st around 7 p.m. by the first respondent and had filed all their responses and asked for a 30-minute stand down to enable them serve the respondent. Now, following the outcry by indigents and residents of Abia State over planned restrictions on tricycles in Aba and Umuahia, respectively, the state government has shifted the planned enforcement date from the 1st day of July to the 1st day of August 2024. Commissioner for Information and Culture, Oke Kanu, announced this while briefing journalists on the outcome of the week's Executive Council meeting. My colleague, Chinwe Ugele, tells us more.
Bottom line at the end of the day will be to ensure there are no gaps in terms of people not missing out on what they used to do to earn a living, and of course on the part of commuters to ensure that commuters will still move around the state.
The obvious reason for the hold on the operational time restrictions on Keke in Umuahia and Aba was not just in response to the outcry by the masses, but in realization of the need to have an alternative arrangement in place when it's nightfall. Commissioner for Information and Culture in Abia State, Oke Kano, says government wants to bring CNG-powered buses to the capital city of Umuahia and commercial city of Aba. The earlier promises by the government to provide buses in order to cushion the effect of subsidy removal may just become a reality now if government does as it says.
What we're talking about, alternative means of transportation, and they will be there. short of just KK and bikes being available after 7 p.m. There are the others.
The citizens of Abia say they appreciate the introduction of the CNG-powered buses, but concerned about how government intends to successfully run the transportation business.
I think it's a good plan because the government will subsidize the transport for a start, and then the crime wave too. But this keke, they are creating a lot of problems.
Those who are concerned should monitor those who are handling the buses very well.
Government with the buses or taxi, then them matter. But at the end of the day, before 2-3 years, you will not see those buses or taxis again. They will just disappear.
Since the enforcement date of the restrictions is postponed, the keke riders and motorcycle riders want government to extend the operational time too.
Yes, it's good, but that 7 o'clock is too early for keke drivers. That 7 o'clock is too early. At least let them make it 8 after 8. It's okay, or 8:30. It's okay for us. Because if they do it that 7 o'clock, it will choke some people. And keke people will not be happy with bus people.
The 1-month grace will likely offer opportunity for the government to register all commercial vehicles, tricycles and motorcycles and get the buses in place. In Umuahia for News Central, Chinwe Ugeli.
Still ahead, Algeria's political parties urge President Tebboune to run for second term. That's after the break. Stay with us. The news continues in North Africa. 3 political parties, including the National Democratic Rally, the National Liberation Front and the Future Front, have called for Algeria's President Abdelmadjid Tebboune to run for a second term. With 2 months to go before the presidential election scheduled for September 7, 2024, Tebboune has not yet revealed his intention to seek re-election. Let's go over to our business desk for today's business stories.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
On business tonight, petrol from Dangote petrochemical refinery is expected to hit the local market in 2 to 3 weeks. However, petroleum marketers are concerned that the price may be higher than anticipated due to the refinery's inability to source feedstock locally, leading to imports from the United States and other countries at a higher cost. This has made its diesel and aviation fuel less attractive to local marketers. The cost of importing crude oil is expected to affect the production cost, potentially increasing the ex-depot price of Dangote's petrol. Now, Shell International and Andova PLC have partnered to launch the inaugural power conference with the goal of boosting productivity in the energy sector. The event focused on the role of energy solutions in enhancing productivity and driving growth in the Nigerian business landscape. The conference provided a platform for discourse among key stakeholders, emphasizing the need for collaborative approaches to drive industrialization for growth and development. Adova's managing director emphasized the company's commitment to innovation and sustainability, while Shell expressed excitement about collaborating with Adova to advance sustainable energy solutions in Nigeria and the West African markets. We also tell you that the World Bank is revising the Nigeria Digital Identification for Development project due to unmet objectives by the international deadline of June 30, 2024. The project, which aimed to register 148 million people for a national identification number, fell short of its target. The restructuring is crucial to secure the full disbursement of the $430 million pledged by the World Bank, French Development Agency, and the European Investment Bank. The project's closure has now been extended to June 30, 2026 to cater to the growing demand for a comprehensive digital ID system. Now, Ghana's Trade and Industry Minister, Katie Hammond, is set to propose a law to Parliament to regulate soaring cement prices. despite a meeting boycott by manufacturers. The boycott was triggered by an unexpected media presence at a meeting which manufacturers believe should have been private. Despite the boycott, Hammond continued the meeting and defended the media's involvement. The proposed law has drawn criticism from the National Democratic Congress and Consumer Rights Organization Courts International, both urging its rejection. And that's all on Business News. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
Business News in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
Let's now bring you sports news.
Sports Update, brought to you by Kano Oil. Kano Oil, we go the extra mile.
In sports, Ogun State is set to host the inaugural Southwest Athletics Conference from Thursday in Abeokuta, the state's capital, in a bid to revitalize athletics in the region. The conference aims to set the course for athletics development in the region over the next 4 years. The two-day conference will also serve as a framework for identifying and nurturing talented athletes. Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun will be the guest of honor alongside other governors from Oyo, Lagos, Ekiti, Ondo, and Osun. Top coaches and athletics experts will also form a key part of the conference. The conference will feature diverse topics, including elite competitions, school sports engagement, athlete welfare, and governance. The Nigeria Wrestling Federation has officially unveiled 6 athletes for the 2024 Olympics in Paris, France. The team comprises 5 female wrestlers, 1 male freestyle wrestler, and 3 coaches. The team features Tokyo Olympic silver medalist Blessing Oborodudu, reigning African champion Odunayo Adekuroye, and military world champion Hannah Ruben. Also, reigning African champions and debutantes Esther Kolawole and Ogunsoya Christina, while Ashton Mutua completes the list in the men's freestyle wrestling. The coaches are Victor Kode, Purity Ako, and Happiness Burutu. The athletes and officials are expected to depart Nigeria for Spain on the 3rd of July for a pre-Olympic tournament in Madrid before settling in Germany for their last campaign ahead of the Games. Marketa Vondrousova's Wimbledon title defense came to an early end as she fell to a surprise first-round defeat by Spain's Jessica Bozas Manero. The Czech became the first unseeded player to win the women's singles trophy when she triumphed against Tunisia's Ons Jabeur in last year's final. Vondrousova's game was riddled with unforced errors and double faults as 23-year-old world number 83 Bozas Manero took advantage to win 6-4, 6-2 for her first Grand Slam victory. It is the first time since 1994, when Steffi Graf lost to Laurie McNeil, that the women's defending champion has lost in the first round at the Wimbledon. Vondrousova's early exit means there will be a different women's singles champion for a 7th consecutive year. Novak Djokovic dispelled fears that his recent injury setback could hinder his title chances at Wimbledon by producing a first-round win. Djokovic, seeking to equal Roger Federer's men's record of 8 singles title, beat Vit Kopriva 6-1, 6-2, 6-2. Kopriva was making his main draw debut at the age of 27. 37-year-old Djokovic had an operation on a torn medial meniscus in June, having aggravated the problem during the French Open. Djokovic has now registered a record 371 wins in major events so far in his career. In the second round on Thursday, he will play British wildcard Jacob Finlay. And that's a wrap on Sports Updates. I'm Udoka Njoko.
Brought to you by Kano Oil. Kano Oil, we go the extra mile.
Up next is entertainment news.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Tonight on Entertainment, after the successful release of her hit single Tomorrow, Yemi Alade hosted a listening party for her upcoming 10th studio album. Although the album is speculated to be called Rebel Queen, what stood out was the listening party's location, Paris, France. Contrary to popular beliefs, Yemi Alade has a significant number of both international and national fans, and this event proved it. In videos shared online, the star was seen enjoying heartfelt moments with her fans. They danced together and shared what the album meant to them. Following her electrifying headlining performance at Glastonbury, Dua Lipa, a 3-time Grammy and 7-time Brit Award-winning pop star, announced she'll be performing at London's Wembley Stadium on June 20th, 2025. To celebrate the Wembley announcement, she and O2 are reviving the Walk Hard campaign to promote The Presale, featuring a 60-second film directed by Daniel Wolf. Dua Lipa will continue her summer festival tour in Europe with a sold-out show at London's Royal Albert Hall on October 17th. In November, she will begin the Asian leg of her Radical Optimism tour, supporting her third album, which debuted at #1 in 11 countries, including the UK and the US. That's all on Entertainment Tonight.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Moving away from entertainment, the hashtag NYSC takes center stage on our trending stories online as the swearing-in ceremony for the 2024 Batch B Stream 1 Corps members holds today in all the 37 NYSC orientation camps across the country. A lot of people took to social media to express their excitement. Let's take a look at some tweets. At Ikagbo Gabriel, on the quest for a new Nigeria, we have to serve our dear country wholeheartedly without fear, for there's time for everything. NYSC called and I have responded. So help me God, all thanks to God. At Terra_Byte07, make I sure they drop the evidence here. Make opposition no go whine me tomorrow say I no serve. No more a PCM, now a core member. At Take Easy, NYSC Niger State taking the lead. We hosted the Director General of NYSC, the Honorable Minister of Youth Development, and the Executive Governor of Niger State. At Happy_Yo, I'm super grateful to Almighty Allah for granting me His mercy and grace to witness this auspicious day. Now officially an NYSC core member, I promise to represent my country in the best way I can. God bless NYSC. God bless Nigeria. That's all.
And that's where we wrap things up tonight, but not before we bring you a recap of our major stories. Nigeria has recorded 63 deaths, over 2,000 cholera cases. House of Representatives has alleged the Banu suicide bombers were mercenaries. Court has adjourned hearing on Kano Emirate tussle to July 4. We also brought you news that Algeria's political parties have urged President Banu to run for a second term. Do send your eyewitness report to the number showing now on your screen. You can follow us on socials. That's at News Central TV. You can watch live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Good night.